Hi, this is Christine Marfit again, and today I'm interviewing Scott Cadieux, who is the former owner of the house behind us. And this is the property line fence that I'm showing you. And Mr. Cadieux has explained to me that he had called the city of Northport because there were some very large Australian pines, and they were and could you show me exactly in which area they were?
They were located where all this brush has grown up.
Okay, and you were afraid
the
because
limbs were dropping and they were causing a hazard to the children that were playing here.
Okay.
They were heavy, large limbs and posing a threat to my structure, my building, my fence, everything. So had them come out and remove the trees.
Okay, and this was because the trees were on the city right-of-way, city property, right?
Therefore, they came out and removed them free of charge.
Okay, because this is not your property.
This is not my property.
And they call it a green belt?
This is what they call a green belt.
Okay, and just for everybody, I'm going to pan around so you can kind of get an idea that this is indeed a very large, undeveloped area which the city of Northport apparently owns. Okay, now, what was the city's beef with you? And it started, you said, with the trees?
When I made them move the trees, after doing so, which took them weeks to do, they told me that there was a boat back here, which I knew there was a boat back here. They asked me to remove the boat. I explained to them that I had just taken possession of the property through divorce, and the boat was here when I got the house back. I said the boat is not mine. It had a VIN number and title number on the side of the boat. I explained that maybe they should call the city, have the police look up the VIN number on the boat, have the boat towed away and pursue the boat's owner, not myself personally.
Okay.
They proceeded to explain to me that because of the proximity from the boat's location, which was right about here,
okay,
which
I'm going
is
to back
about
up a little.
18 feet into the green belt,
Okay.
that because of the proximity to the boat's location and my property, that I was held liable for the removal of the boat. And
were you afraid to remove somebody else's boat in case you were charged with theft?
well, that could have been a possibility, but I was more so not in a position monetarily at the time to have a boat with 2 flat tires fixed, repaired, and taken off of my property and then charged for the dumping fee. So again, I was in the midst of a divorce and it was costing a lot of money and it was an expense that I didn't need to pay for. So I told the city to please remove their own boat at their own expense, and they continued to tell me that I would move my boat.
Okay, and how much was the dumping fee?
I believe, I'm going back a little while, but I believe it was around $200 to $250.
And the tow, was that included in that? Or?
Yes, it was.
Okay. And so you had to come out of your pocket quite a bit of money. That would have been handy for your family.
Sure.
And you have a little girl, right?
Yes, I do.
And single father.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Okay. How much did this eventually end up costing you?
With attorney's fees and trying to mediate the situation and try to diffuse it, if you will, to the actual fee that they charged me at the closing, total out of pocket was about $20,000.
And how did that impact you in your life?
Financially, it crippled me to where I couldn't go out and purchase another home when I left here. I had to continue to rent. We went through a depression. I had no liquid to actually help keep my business afloat. And because of the economy, lending had ceased with most of the banks, especially when you don't have any liquid to back it up. So it kind of was a snowball effect. And
you ended up really paying cash out of your settlement for this house, didn't you, when it was sold?
I had paid through advice from my attorney. I was given pretty crappy advice, but it was that I paid them with a check, and at the bottom of the check I write paid out of protest. So when they cashed the check, they know that I was in agreement with the payment,
right,
but it was the only thing I could do to satisfy a $180,000 deal to not
right,
let this $15,000 debt hold up $180,000 close of a home.
Which in retrospect now, you were very fortunate to have sold your house during the time, because right now nothing is selling. And do you have any idea what the general market value is today?
General market value today of the home that I previously owned, I would estimate to be between 75 and maybe 90,000, due to the fact that of all the amenities that it carries.
Right.
It's kind of the elephant in the room as far as houses on the block.
Right, because most of the other houses would be worth considerably less. And you're a neighbor of Nikki Timmons, who was also in trouble with the city of Northport.
We were doing battle about the same time with the city.
Okay, and Nikki was in trouble for building a fence that she didn't finish in time, and she had a huge fine.
They pulled a permit for the fence. There was some discrepancy as to when it was supposed to be inspected or something to the nature. Somehow the fence was put up a little too far on one side or the other, and huge fines and fees started being assessed, as opposed to just some easy words exchanged, and a quick moving of the fence and a couple of 10 poles and ease up off the property line, or whatever the discrepancy was. I'm not quite sure.
I talked to Nikki, and what she told me was they didn't finish it on time, and that's what I've gotten from most everybody. They didn't have enough money to finish the fence, and that was their problem.
Happen,
and that was what their problem was.
You would be able to extend a permit long enough for you to get the monetary money up to complete the project.
Yeah, you would think that, wouldn't you? Now, I know, not to really get off your story too much, but I just wanted to double check. You have terrible trouble with drainage on this street, don't you?
Very much so. In fact, there's a drainage pipe that runs on the side of my property, on the western side of the property, put in by the city, some kind of half corrugated pipe, plastic piping, which is never maintained, always holds water, and really is just a waste of city taxpayer money, as far as I'm, as I see.
Are you a witness, basically, to say that Nikki's house area in front floods a lot and has always flooded?
When I purchased this property, we had a lot of rainfall that year before Nikki had purchased that property, because we had looked at a couple of properties on the block. We had actually rented the house across the street, and we had noticed where all the water was gathering, because all these houses were eventually at some point in time for sale. And we knew we didn't want to live at that end of the block, because that end of the block typically floods.
And that's where Nikki's house is,
and
right?
Coincidentally, that's where Nikki's house is.
Right, and because she's in trouble for drainage, which I've already done her interview, is basically the city of Northport, and it's my understanding that they're starting to fine her again and making her somehow fix the problem, as if she's an engineer and some city employee. Getting back to your situation, did